Over the past 2 months, I've been learning the basics of drawing by taking an online course, reading books such as Color and Light, Sketching from Square One, and covered topics from lines and shapes to compositions and color theory. It's been fulfilling to know that I'm building a solid foundation, and I discover techniques and strategies by making connections between these foundational concepts. Now, I have arrived at linear perspective. This is one of the most challenging aspects of drawing to me. Previously, I often felt discouraged and sometimes ended up abandoning my work when I realized my drawing is distorted, but unable to understand what caused it or how to fix it. It is through this systematic learning experience that I found out the important role linear perspectives play in drawing, especially when I draw from imagination, which is something that I eventually would love to do. In this video, I'll show you how I tackle this important component of drawing, with the help of two powerful tools, the 80-20 rule and AI. The 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle, was developed by an Italian economist, Vilfredo Pareto, who observed that 80% of the land in Italy was owned by 20% of the population. This principle was then applied in other domains, such as 80% of a company's sales come from 20% of its customers, 80% of a person's productivity comes from 20% of their work, and the basis of this video today, which is focusing on the most essential 20% of the linear perspective content, would cover 80% of what I need to learn about this topic. Even though the use of AI has become more common compared to when it first came out, many people still have lots of questions and concerns about the role it'll play in our lives, myself included. For now, I'm using it mostly to complete simple tasks, such as brainstorming recipes and summarizing long texts. Keeping in mind that AI responses can contain wrong information, I make sure to verify the answers if I'm using it for more complex tasks, such as doing research or learning skills. Over time, I learned to adapt my prompt by adding or revising the information I include to get the level of detail and emphasis I need to continue the brainstorming process. To do this, I usually include who I am as relevant to the topic, what my goal is, and what result or product I'm looking for, and other information as needed. For example, in this video, I want to highlight that I'm a beginner who is learning to draw. My goal is to learn about linear perspectives, and the result or product I'm looking for is a learning plan, from easy to difficult. And I want to use the 80-20 rule to produce the plan. I'm comfortable with the response I got here since it's mostly about the subtopics and the steps I take to learn this topic, and they can be easily verified. I'm more careful with this response here to my prompt. What are some key points or tips for each perspective, with a try and see mindset, since at this point, I'm not sure if this information is accurate. I took a more detailed look at the plan and refined it to better fit my needs. I started off with some warm-up exercises, drawing cubes in all three perspectives. But after that, I'll leave my emphasis on 1 and 2-point perspectives for now. This is what all three perspectives ended up looking like. I spent some time comparing among the three, looking for commonalities and differences with the directions of the lines. I noted them down beside each other for future reference. To learn about 1 and 2 point perspectives in detail, I returned to my trusted resource, the How to Draw course on Canopy. I appreciated how drawing along is a part of the course design, and I'm left with the second half to draw completely on my own after drawing the first half following the course. I intentionally tried out the tips that were given in the response, and it turns out they're accurate. This verification process helped cement what I learned from the lectures even more, which is a great side benefit. Things were quite smooth up until this point, but questions started to pop up when I tried to apply what I learned in my practice drawing. First of all, I don't know how to accurately locate the horizon line on an existing photo. After a few unsuccessful tries, I wanted to see if Claude could help me with this. I was pleasantly surprised with the level of detail it gave me, even though my question was as short as, how do I find the horizon line in a photo? The follow-up suggestions were very helpful. I ended up asking more specific questions about locating the horizon line in photos with objects indoors, and was given visuals with text explanations alongside as well. I tested the answers by downloading the image into my iPad. By drawing some construction lines, I was able to find the vanishing point and then the horizon line. I verified this by using different objects in the image, and it turns out that they all vanish into the same point. This also in turn verifies that the methods offered by Claude are accurate and effective. I was also able to troubleshoot using Claude. I asked, why does my 2-point perspective drawing look distorted? And got these possible causes. I tried the same drawing once again, and it turned out to be much better when I spaced the 2 vanishing points farther apart and amplified the distance even more by making the object smaller. I asked more questions as I practiced along, like what does plane mean in drawing? What are some key points to remember when drawing in linear perspective? What are some common mistakes with drawing in linear perspective? I tried out points mentioned in the responses and noted down the accurate and useful ones for future reviews. Overall, the combination of the Pareto principle and AI has been helpful with my process of learning 1 and 2 point perspective drawing. There are 2 comparisons I'd like to highlight between learning through the course and learning through an AI tool. Number 1 is accuracy of information. I mentioned this at the beginning of the video and throughout the video that AI responses can have misleading or even wrong information. For example, quite a few resources were recommended knowing I was looking to learn linear perspective, but not all of them have content about linear perspective. They still are great resources, just not what I needed for this purpose. In comparison, even though there still can be mistakes in renowned online courses, the chances of that happening can be much slimmer. Number 2 is defined versus undefined content. Reputable online courses have well-defined structure and content, which is really beneficial for me since my goal is to start from the very beginning and learn how to draw systematically. However, since there's no interaction between the lecturer and I don't get the opportunity to ask questions when they come up. This is where I find AI tools to be helpful. I can ask questions anytime and decide how deep I want to go with that question. So this might be more helpful to people who already have some knowledge about a topic and want a tool to do some sense-making or troubleshooting with. By the way, I'm using the free model of Claude, and it's possible that the depth and breadth of content are presented differently with a paid version. All in all, these 2 ways of learning are complementary to each other, and I see myself using them side by side in the future.
언제나 혼자서
I want to acknowledge that simply because I carried out this learning plan step by step and learned a great deal along the way doesn't mean the learning process has ended. As a matter of fact, there is still such a long way for me to go to digest and absorb all the important information I learned, and an even longer journey if I want to apply it in my future work with ease. Thank you for following along my experimentation with the 20/80 rule and using AI to generate learning plans. Have you used them for your projects? What are your experiences like? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear about them. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.